Good evening. A major emergency is unfolding right now along the...
Just moments ago, breaking reports have started flooding in from across the heart of America and beyond, capturing events that are leaving even the most seasoned observers in a state of absolute shock. The world we once thought was stable is beginning to show cracks that can no longer be explained by simple science or coincidence, from the silent fissures opening up in the dry ground to the massive and terrifying shadows surfacing from the deep blue waters. A pattern is emerging that signals a divine. In our daily lives, as we speak, witnesses are capturing footage of strange and majestic entities moving within our ocean's, creatures that match the ancient descriptions of the Leviathan rising. As if to witness the culmination of the ages, the atmosphere itself has turned into a canvas of warning, with the sun being veiled by perfect glowing halos, and the clouds taking on shapes that seem to watch every move we make beneath our feet. The earth is groaning, splitting open in jagged lines, as if reacting to a weight that is spiritual rather than physical. And in the middle of this chaos, the skies over the United States have revealed manifestations that point directly to the promised return of the King. These are not isolated incidents, but an unbroken chain of signs that were foretold thousands of years ago in the scriptures of the Bible. As the prophet Luke warned, there would be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity. Today, that perplexity has become our reality, and as you watch this footage, you must realize that you are not a casual observer, but a witness to a prophetic timeline that is accelerating by the second. If your heart feels the urgency of this hour, and if you can sense the shift in the world around you, share your witness in the comments below and subscribe to stay connected as we peel back the veil on these final revelations. Because the question is no longer what is happening, but why it is happening now, and how much time we truly have left. Stay with us as we dive deep into the heart of these mysteries, where the ancient word of God meets the breaking news of today. The world we once knew is fading into a memory, and in its place a new and terrifying reality is emerging right before our eyes. As we move from the initial shock of the global anomalies into a deep analysis of the breaking news coming out of America and Australia, we are forced to confront a truth that is both physical and deeply spiritual. The footage we are examining today from Fox Weather and independent witnesses shows a planet that is no longer in balance, but is instead reacting to a divine clock that is ticking toward a final resolution. We begin our journey on the ground level, where the element of water has been transformed from a source of life into a weapon of absolute destruction. The catastrophic floods that have recently ripped through the heart of the United States and the eastern coast of Australia are not just isolated weather events, but are a part of a much larger and more ominous pattern. As we see the streets of Victoria turning into violent rushing rivers, sweeping away vehicles and entire livelihoods in a matter of seconds, we are reminded of the fragility of our human structures. The Bible speaks of this very moment in the book of Matthew chapter 24, where the Savior warns us that as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. In those ancient times, the people were distracted by their daily lives, ignoring the signs, until the flood came and took them all away. And today, as we watch houses being lifted from their foundations and families clinging to rooftops, we see that same suddenness, that same sense of a world caught off guard by the power of the Creator. This is the roar of the deep calling out to the deep, a reminder that the heavens and the earth are under a sovereign command that we have long ignored. And as the rain falls, it feels like the tears of heaven weeping for a world that has lost its way. The water is no longer staying within its boundaries. It is as if the earth is being purged and cleansed by a force that no dam or levee can contain. Every clip we see of the brown churning waters carrying away the remains of our civilization is a wake-up call to the soul, telling us that the material world is passing away, but the word of the Lord remains forever. As the landslides we are witnessing in the mountainous regions of the American West provide a chilling display of the earth losing its grip, entire hillsides are dissolving into rivers of mud and debris, burying everything in their path, and reminding us that even the mountains, which we consider to be the symbols of stability, are not permanent. The Bible tells us in the book of Nahum that the mountains quake at him and the hills melt, and the earth is burned at his presence. And when we see the footage of roads disappearing into the abyss, we are seeing the literal melting of the hills as the earth groans under the weight of the spiritual transition. We are currently experiencing these landslides are not just geological failures, they are the physical manifestation of a world that is being shaken, so that the things which cannot be shaken may remain. Every shovel of mud moved by the survivors is a testament to the human spirit. But it is also a sober warning that our material wealth can be buried in an instant, leaving us with nothing but our faith and our connection to the divine. We must look beyond the mud and the debris to see the spiritual reality that is unfolding, because the water is rising, and the ground is moving for a reason that is far deeper than any meteorologist can explain. It is the movement of the ages, the shifting of the tectonic plates of prophecy that have been dormant for far too long, and now they are awakening with a fury that demands our full attention and our total surrender to the truth that is being revealed in every crashing wave and every falling stone. As we stand on the edge of this new era, we must ask ourselves if we are prepared for the absolute transformation that is coming, because what we have seen on the surface is only the beginning of a much deeper revealing that will touch every corner of our existence and every fiber of our being. As the roar of the floods echoes through our valleys, it is a sound that cannot be silenced or ignored any longer. As we move deeper into the heart of the landscape, we encounter a phenomenon that is perhaps even more terrifying than the floods and the landslides, because it is silent, and it is mysterious across the vast plains of the American Midwest. And in several remote regions globally, the very ground is beginning to split open. Massive fissures and deep jagged cracks are appearing in the soil, stretching for miles and reaching depths that remain unknown to our scientists. These are not the result of earthquakes, and there is no tectonic movement to explain why the crust of the earth is literally pulling itself apart. In the book of Isaiah chapter 24, the prophet gives us a haunting description of this exact scenario, stating that the earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, and the earth is moved exceedingly. When you stand at the edge of one of these fissures and look into the darkness below, you are looking into the evidence of a planet that is clean dissolved. Just as the scriptures foretold, these cracks are like the opening of a book that has been sealed for centuries, revealing that the foundations of our physical reality are no longer secure. It is as if the earth is opening its mouth to cry out for justice and for redemption, reacting to the spiritual pressure of a generation that has turned its back on the light. As we analyze the footage of these cracks, we see people standing in awe, wondering if the ground beneath their feet will hold. And that is the question we must all ask ourselves today, in a world where the ground is literally breaking. What is the foundation of your soul? These silent witnesses to the coming judgment are appearing in places where the earth has been stable for generations. Yet now, without a single tremor, the ground simply parts ways, as if it can no longer contain the secrets buried within the biblical narrative. Reminds us that in the end times, even the rocks will cry out. And as we look at these gaping wounds in the earth, we see a creation that is in deep distress, crying out for the return of its creator to bring order to the chaos. The human touch in these moments is what breaks the heart and stirs the spirit. We see the elderly holding onto what little they have left as the waters rise. And we see neighbors who were strangers yesterday now risking their lives to pull one another from the mud. This is where the grace of God is most visible in the midst of judgment. The resilience shown by the people of America and Australia as they face these biblical trials is a reflection of the light that no darkness can extinguish. The Bible tells us in the book of Psalms that God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore will not we fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea. This is the promise we must cling to as we watch the footage of the earth being removed before our eyes. These events are designed to strip away our reliance on the temporary and to force us to look toward the eternal city whose builder and maker is God. As we watch the brown waters of the floods and the black depths, the earth cracks, we must see them as a call to prayer and a call to return to the path of righteousness before the final veil is lifted for those who have eyes to see. Every crack in the desert floor and every surge of the overflowing river is a signal that the time of grace is narrowing and the time of revelation is expanding beyond our wildest imagination. We must consider the testimony of the survivors who speak of a strange stillness before the ground opens, or the water rushes in a silence that feels heavy with the presence of something unseen and eternal. It is in these moments of total vulnerability that many are finding their way back to a faith they had long abandoned. Because when the earth fails and the water consumes, there is nothing left but the spirit that dwells within us and the promise of a life that fire and flood cannot touch. Look at the way the light reflects off the jagged edges of these new canyons forming in America. It is a harsh and beautiful reminder that even in destruction there is a divine design at work pulling back the layers of our material existence to reveal the spiritual reality that has been hidden for far too long. As the groaning of the earth reaches a crescendo, we must also look beyond the surface of the land to the mysteries that are now surfacing from the great deep. The oceans, which cover the majority of our planet, have long been the final frontier of the unknown. But in these times of prophetic acceleration, the waters are beginning to yield their secrets. Reports and footage from deep-sea explorers and coastal witnesses are capturing shadows and massive entities that match the ancient descriptions of beings we once thought were merely myths. The Book of Job, chapter 41, speaks of the Leviathan, a creature of such power and scale that no man can hope to tame it, a king over all the children of pride. As we analyze the strange movements in the Pacific and the massive disturbances in the deep blue waters, we are seeing evidence that these ancient guardians, or perhaps ancient judgments, are being stirred from their slumber. The earth is shaking, the ground is breaking, and now the deep is rising to meet the challenge of the hour. This convergence of ground and water, of land and sea, is a unified testimony that the physical and spiritual realms are colliding in a way that our generation is the first to truly witness. The shadows beneath the waves are not just undiscovered species. They are the manifestations of a spiritual world that is no longer content to stay hidden behind the veil. And as the sea gives up its mysteries, we are forced to reckon with the scale of a universe that is far more complex and far more terrifying than our modern science has ever dared to admit. The sight of these massive disturbances in the ocean should not bring us terror, but should instead bring us to a place of holy awe for the one who created the Leviathan and the Behemoth, and who holds the oceans in the palm of his hand. It is a call to humility to realize that we are but dust in the presence of such ancient and divine power. As the waves crash against the breaking shoreline, we hear the echo of the voice that once stilled the storm on Galilee, now speaking to us through the chaos, telling us to be still and know that He is God. If you are watching this and you can feel the urgency in your bones, if you know in your spirit that these signs are not just coincidences, then you are part of a global remnant that is being awakened for this very hour. We are dedicated to bringing you this deep analysis, because the truth is the only thing that will survive the fire. So please take a moment right now to like this video and subscribe to our channel to join our community of watchers. Your support is vital, because it allows us to continue documenting these signs and sharing the biblical truth with those who are lost in the chaos. Leave a comment below with your prayers for the victims of the floods and the landslides, because your faith is a powerful force that can bring peace to the storm. Share this video with everyone you know, because the time for silence has passed and the time for witnessing has begun. We are witnessing the birth pangs of a new world, and every subscriber, every like, and every shared testimony is a way to strengthen the network of light that is being built across the globe. As the darkness of the physical world increases, we must shine brighter with the light of understanding and compassion, reaching out to those who are terrified by the crumbling ground and the rising sea. Together, we are not just observers, we are participants in the most significant era of human history, where the ancient scrolls are coming to life in high definition right on our screens. Stay focused and stay grounded, because what we reveal in the next moments of this journey will take us from the depths of the ocean to the highest reaches of the atmosphere, where the heavens themselves have begun to open and speak in a language of light that no man can ignore. The transition from the breaking land to the depths of the great abyss marks a pivotal shift in our understanding of these prophetic times, because as the surface of our world is shaken, the ancient secrets of the deep are finally being forced into the light. For centuries, the vast oceans have remained the most mysterious part of our existence, a realm where light barely penetrates, and where the laws of the surface world seem to fade away. But today, the footage being captured by deep-sea expeditions and coastal observers is revealing something that science cannot categorize, and that the world is not prepared to handle. We are seeing massive disturbances in the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, where colossal shadows move with a speed and an intelligence that defies every known biological classification. These are not just whales or undiscovered fish. They are the manifestation of a power that takes us back to the very foundations of creation. As we look at the disturbances in the deep blue waters, we are reminded of the Book of Job, chapter 41, where the Creator himself describes a creature of immense power called the Leviathan. It says that his heart is as firm as a stone, and that when he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. The sight of these massive entities surfacing after millennia of silence is a sign that the boundaries between the physical and the supernatural are being dissolved. As the earth cracks open on the surface, the deep is giving up its mysteries, as if responding to a call that has been echoing through time and space. This is the spiritual awakening of the waters, where the creatures that were once thought to be myths are returning to serve as witnesses to the final hour of our history. As we analyze the shadows beneath the waves, we must also consider the strange occurrences in our ancient forests and remote wilderness areas, where eyewitnesses are reporting the presence of beings that match the descriptions of the giants of old. The Bible speaks of the Nephilim in the book of Genesis, and the book of Numbers, men of great stature and renown who walked the earth in the days of antiquity. For a long time these were dismissed as legends, but as the world enters this period of intense shaking, reports of massive footprints and looming figures in the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest and the Siberian taiga are resurfacing with undeniable frequency. It is as if the shifting of the Earth's energy is allowing these ancient residents of the Earth to manifest once again the presence of these giants. And the stirring of the Leviathan in the deep are not random biological events. They are the fulfillment of the ancient warnings that in the end times all that was hidden will be revealed, and all that was buried will be brought. The surface, the fear that people feel when they see these shadows or hear the deep booming sounds coming from the ocean floor, is a primal reaction to the presence of the divine. And the supernatural, it is a reminder that we are small in the face of a creator who commands both the seen and the unseen worlds. And as these entities begin to interact with our reality, they force us to abandon our small-minded view of existence, and to recognize that we are part of a cosmic battle that is reaching its climax right now. The connection between the breaking ground and the rising deep is a unified testimony of a world in labor. As we watch the footage of strange lights dancing over the ocean before a massive disturbance occurs, we realize that the heavens, the earth, and the sea are acting in a synchronized symphony of revelation. The book of Psalms tells us that the sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. And today we see both of these realms reacting to his presence. The floods that we witnessed earlier are like the introductory notes to this grand revelation, washing away the old structures to make room for the manifestation of these ancient truths. Every splash of the Leviathan and every shadow cast by a returning giant is a sentence in the final chapter of human history, telling us that the time of man's independent rule is coming to an end, and the time of the divine kingdom is at hand. We must not look away in terror, but look forward in faith, knowing that even the most powerful creatures of the deep are under the authority of the one who spoke the world into existence. The resilience we see in humanity as we face these mounting mysteries is the only thing that will sustain us as the veil continues to thin and the impossible becomes our daily reality. Stay with us as we move our gaze from the shadows of the forest and the depths of the sea to the most glorious and terrifying stage of all, the high heavens, where the signs are becoming so bright and so undeniable that they are stopping traffic in major cities across the globe. We have seen the earth break and the deep rise, but now the atmosphere itself is beginning to transform into a doorway for the eternal. The glowing spheres, the perfect halos, and the shapes in the clouds are the final signals of our journey. And as we analyze the footage of the American sky in the next part of this revelation, you will see why the world is finally falling silent in anticipation of what is coming through the clouds. The journey from the mud of the landslide to the light of the celestial halo is a journey of purification and awakening, and we are honored to walk this path with you as we uncover the truth that connects the ground beneath your feet to the stars above your head. Keep your eyes on the horizon, because the light is breaking through and the message is becoming clearer with every passing second. The deep has spoken, and now the heavens are about to answer with a roar that will be heard across every continent and in every human heart. This high-level analysis is what brings us together as a community of truth seekers and watchers who refuse to be blinded by the distractions of a falling world. Your presence here is not an accident, but a divine appointment to receive the understanding that will keep you steady when the world around you is in chaos. Please continue to like and share these videos, because the reach of this message depends on your willingness to stand as a light in the darkness. Every comment you leave and every person you share this with is a seed of hope planted in a world that is desperately thirsty for the truth. As we prepare to enter the final stage of our investigation into the American sky phenomena, take a deep breath and center your spirit on the eternal, because what you are about to see next is the evidence that the King is not just coming, he is already moving among us in the clouds and in the light. Stay focused, stay vigilant, and stay in the Word, for the greatest revelation is still ahead, and the best is yet to come for those who wait upon the Lord with an expectant heart. The line between the physical and the spiritual is about to vanish completely, leaving us face to face with the glory that has been promised since the beginning of time. As we continue our journey into the heart of these global anomalies, we must stop and listen to the voices of those standing on the front lines, particularly in the coastal regions of the Pacific Northwest, where the local residents are witnessing things that have forced them to question the very nature of reality. The footage we have just analyzed showing a massive and unidentifiable presence moving beneath the waves of the Oregon coast is not just a scientific curiosity, it is a spiritual confrontation. For the families who live there, imagine standing on the shore where you have spent your entire life, only to see the water displace in a way that suggests a creature of such immense scale that it mirrors the descriptions of the Leviathan from the ancient scrolls of Job. It is one thing to read about these beings in a book, but it is another thing entirely to see the ocean heave and churn under the weight of an entity that defies modern biology. One witness described the feeling as a deep vibration in their chest, a low frequency hum that seemed to resonate with the very soul. This is the human touch of these events, the raw and unfiltered fear of a father watching the horizon, wondering if his children are safe in a world where the ancient deep is finally awakening. The Bible tells us that the sea will roar and the hearts of men will fail them for fear of what is coming upon the earth. And in towns across the American coast, that fear is becoming a daily companion as the abyss gives up its secrets. But the disturbance is not limited to the depths of the ocean. As the pressure builds within the earth, we are seeing the literal fire of the foundation breaking through in the form of sudden and violent volcanic activity that is turning the sky into a tapestry of ash and embers. The footage of the molten earth erupting and the black clouds of smoke billowing into the atmosphere is a terrifying reminder of the words found in the book of Revelation, where it is written that the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. For the families living in the shadow of these geological giants, the air has become heavy with the scent of sulfur, and the light of the sun has been replaced by a haunting orange glow that feels like a scene from the final days of history. We must feel the weight of their experience, the ash falling on their doorsteps like a gray snow of judgment, signaling that the internal fire of the planet is no longer content to stay buried beneath the crust. This is the great shaking that was foretold, where the pillars of the earth tremble at the presence of the Lord. And as we analyze the thermal signatures and the suddenness of these eruptions, we see a pattern of urgency that suggests the earth itself is in a state of emergency, trying to release the spiritual and physical tension that has been building for millennia. As we lift our eyes from the fire of the volcanoes and the shadows of the sea, we find ourselves staring into the most profound mystery of all. The heavens over Oregon and the American Midwest have become a canvas for signs that are stopping traffic and bringing entire communities to their knees. The footage of the massive eye-shaped clouds and the perfect golden halos encircling the sun is not a trick of the light or a simple atmospheric reflection. These formations are so precise and so intelligent in their structure that they act as a divine signature written across the sky. One woman in Oregon described the sight of the solar halo as a moment of absolute silence, where the chaos of the world seemed to vanish, and all that remained was a sense of standing in the presence of something holy and eternal. This is the sign of the Son of Man beginning to manifest in the clouds, as the prophet Luke warned there would be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity. Today that perplexity has reached the doorsteps of everyday Americans who are looking up from their backyards and seeing the glory of the heavens unfolding in real time. The glowing orbs and the mysterious spheres that move in perfect formation across the night sky are like the eyes of the watchers looking down upon a world that has forgotten its way home. The connection between the breaking earth, the rising sea, the fire of the volcanoes, and the lights in the sky is a unified call to the heart of every viewer. This is not just information, it is a personal invitation to look beyond the material distractions of your life and to recognize the era in which you are living. When you see the footage of the ground cracking in the Midwest and the water rising in Australia and the sky opening in Oregon, you are seeing the fulfillment of a promise that was made thousands of years ago. The resilience of the human spirit in these moments is a beautiful thing, but that resilience must be anchored in the truth that can withstand the storm. As we look at the faces of those who are witnessing these events, we see a reflection of our own souls, a mixture of awe and uncertainty. But for those who know the word of the Lord, this uncertainty is replaced by a profound sense of hope. The Bible says that when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. We are the generation of the lifting, the generation that is seeing the ancient prophecies leap off the pages and into the reality of our 21st century existence. We are here as watchmen to help you navigate these times of great transition and to provide a space where the truth is not filtered by the fear of man. Please, if this message has touched your heart, and if you feel the weight of the times we are in, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a sign or a revelation. Your support allows us to keep this platform alive and to reach the millions who are still wandering in the dark, wondering why the world is changing so rapidly. Leave a below and share your own experiences or thoughts on the signs you have seen in your part of the world, because your testimony is a vital part of this global awakening. We are stronger together as a community of faith and as watchers on the wall, sharing the light in an age of increasing shadows. As we conclude this exhaustive investigation, we must realize that the signs in the ocean, the earth, and the sky are all pointing to one singular event, the final unveiling of the truth that has been hidden since the foundation. World, the Leviathan has stirred, the volcanoes have roared, and the heavens have opened. The stage is set, and the actors are in place. But the question remains for you as an individual: where do you stand when the foundations are removed and the sky is rolled back like a scroll? Stay vigilant, stay in prayer, and keep your eyes fixed on the horizon, for the light that is breaking through the clouds is the light of a new dawn that will never end. We will continue to watch, we will continue to report, and we will continue to stand witness to the glory that is about to be revealed in its full and absolute power. As we pivot from the churning depths of the ocean to the vast expanse of the American sky, we find that the atmosphere over places like Oregon and the Midwest has become a living theater of the supernatural. The footage of the massive eye-shaped clouds and the golden halos encircling the sun is causing a wave of profound reflection among the local communities, who can no longer dismiss these as mere weather anomalies. For the families in small-town Oregon who stepped out of their homes only to see a perfect celestial eye staring back at them from the heavens, the experience was nothing short of transformative. One mother recounted how the birds went silent and the wind seemed to hold its breath, as if the entire natural world was acknowledging a divine presence. This is the human reality of these signs. It is not just a video on a screen, but a moment where a farmer in Oregon or a worker in Ohio looks up and feels a sudden, undeniable connection to the eternal, as if a veil has been pulled back to reveal that we are being watched by a grace that is far greater than our fears. The Bible tells us in the book of Luke that there will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and that men's hearts will fail them for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. But for those who understand the language of the Spirit, these signs are not a cause for terror, but a signal of hope, a reminder that even in the midst of global shaking, we are under the gaze of the Creator. The eye in the sky and the solar halos are acting as a divine signature written in light across the firmament. And as we analyze the precise geometry of these formations, we see a level of design that speaks of an intelligent and sovereign hand. The people of America are capturing these images not with professional gear, but with their own phones in their own backyards. And this grassroots testimony is what makes the current era so significant. The truth is no longer hidden in ancient scrolls or locked away in secret archives. It is being broadcast in high definition across the sky for every soul to see, as the glowing orbs and mysterious spheres move in patterns that defy our understanding of propulsion and physics. They remind us that the heavens are far more populated and far more active than our modern science has ever dared to suggest. The sightings of these celestial lights over the suburban neighborhoods of the United States are forcing a generation that has been grounded in materialism to look upward and consider the possibility that we are not alone and that a higher order is about to be fully unveiled. This is the ultimate human touch, where the ordinary citizen becomes a witness to the extraordinary, and where the mundane sky becomes a doorway to the infinite. The transition from the breaking ground to the opening sky creates a full circle of prophetic fulfillment, showing us that every layer of our world is participating in this great awakening. The floods and earth cracks were the call to realize our fragility, but the signs in the heavens are the call to realize our destiny. In the book of Ezekiel, the prophet described wheels within wheels and eyes all around, a vision of the heavenly chariot that matches the complexity of what we are seeing in our clouds today. The convergence of these events across the American landscape is a unified message that the time of the great shaking is also the time of the great revealing as you watch the footage of these lights dancing over the forests of the Northwest. You can feel the energy of a planet in transition, a world that is preparing to receive its rightful king. Every halo and every glowing sphere is a sentence in the final invitation to humanity, asking us to choose where our loyalty lies. Before the final curtain is pulled back, we see the fear in some eyes, but we also see the spark of recognition in others, a soul deep knowing that the things we were told would happen in the end of days are happening right now in our lifetime and in our very neighborhood. If you are watching these lights and feeling a stirring in your spirit that you cannot explain, then you are being activated as a watchman for this final hour. We are committed to documenting these celestial events with the depth and the reverence they deserve, because your understanding of these signs is what will keep you steady in the days to come. Please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel, so we can continue to bring you these urgent reports from the front lines of prophecy. Your engagement helps us push past the noise of the world and reach those who are still searching for answers in the dark. Leave a comment below about the signs you have seen in your sky, because every report adds another piece to the puzzle of the final revelation. Together we are building a sanctuary of truth in an age of deception, and your voice is an essential part of this global testimony. Share this video with your loved ones and your neighbors, because everyone deserves the chance to look up and see the light before the shadows grow any longer. As we move into the final phase of our investigation, we must prepare our hearts for the most shocking revelation of all, because as the sky opens, it is not just showing us lights and shapes, it is preparing the way for a manifestation that will be seen by every eye on the planet. The signs in Oregon and the Midwest are the precursors to a global event that will bridge the gap between our physical world and the kingdom of heaven. The line between the natural and the supernatural is about to vanish completely, and the footage we have yet to show you will provide the final proof that the king is at the door. Stay focused and stay vigilant, because the best is truly yet to come as the heavens prepare to speak with a voice that will shake the foundations of the universe. The journey from the earth cracks to the celestial eye has led us to this moment of absolute truth, where the glory of the Lord is about to be revealed in a way that no one can deny. Keep watching, because the final sign is about to appear. As we approach the final threshold of this investigation, we must confront the most chilling reality of all, because what we are witnessing in the skies of Oregon and across the volcanic ridges of the American West is not a slow transition, but a rapid acceleration toward a moment of absolute truth. If you have watched this far, it is because your spirit recognizes that the world has entered a state of emergency that no government or scientist can fix. The footage we are about to analyze now is the final piece of the puzzle, and it carries a warning so urgent that it is stopping people in their tracks across the heartland of America. As the massive volcanic eruptions send pillars of fire into the clouds and the earth beneath our feet continues to groan, it is becoming clear that the very elements are being rearranged for a divine purpose. The Bible warns us in 2 Peter that the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And as we watch the molten lava consume the landscape and the sky turn a deep blood red, we realize that this is not a movie, it is the reality of our generation. We are the people of the final hour, standing at the edge of eternity, watching as the physical world prepares for the arrival of its king. And if you think you have seen everything, just wait until you see the final anomaly captured over the Pacific coast, because it changes everything we thought we knew about the coming days. The human stories coming out of these zones of destruction are what keep us grounded in the gravity of the hour. We hear of families who stood on their porches in Oregon watching the golden solar halos and feeling a sense of peace that surpassed all understanding, even as the news reported chaos and disaster. This is the supernatural protection promised to the remnant, the light that shines in the darkness, and that the darkness cannot overcome. But there is a secret hidden in these clips that most people are missing. Look closely at the way the light bends around the eye in the sky. It is as if a gateway is being prepared, a doorway between the dimensions that has remained shut since the fall of man. And now, as the earth cracks and the sea rises, that door is being unlocked for those who have eyes to see. The Leviathan stirring in the deep and the giants walking in the shadows are not the main event, they are merely the heralds announcing that the veil is about to be ripped apart completely. And when that happens, every soul on earth will be full. Look into the face of the Eternal and give an account of their life. The clock is not just ticking, it is about to strike midnight, and the urgency you feel in your chest right now is the Holy Spirit calling you to prepare your heart for what is coming through the clouds in the next few minutes of your life. The resilience of the Watchers is what will define the coming days, and we are building a global community here to ensure that no one has to face the storm alone. If you can feel the power of this revelation, then you have a responsibility to stand as a light for your family. And your friends, do not let this moment pass you by without making a commitment to the truth. Please like this video and share it immediately, because there are millions who are still sleeping while the heavens are screaming for their attention. Your subscription to this channel is more than just a click. It is a statement of faith, a declaration that you are watching and that you are ready for the final revelation. Leave your final thoughts in the comments below, because we are reading every single one, and your prayers are what fuel this mission. Share your testimony of the signs you have seen, because the time for hiding our light is over. We are the messengers of the last days, and together we will witness the glory that is about to cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. As we reach the climax of this journey, look one last time at the horizon of Oregon, where the light is no longer just reflecting off the clouds, but seems to be originating from within them. The atmosphere is glowing with a frequency that is literally changing the DNA of our reality. And the final sign, the one that will stop the heart of the world, is now appearing right before our eyes. The message is simple, but it is the most powerful word ever spoken. The King is here. The earth has broken, the deep has... The mountains have melted and the sky has opened. And now there is nothing left but the silence of the soul in the presence of its creator. Stay grounded in the word, stay focused on the light. And whatever you do, do not look back, for the world behind us is passing away, but the kingdom before us is eternal. The signs are complete, the warning is delivered, and the choice is now yours. Look up, for your redemption is not just near, it is standing at the door, and the glory you are seeing in these clips is only the shadow of the beauty that is about to be revealed in its full and absolute majesty. This is the end of the beginning and the start of forever. Stay vigilant, stay blessed, and keep watching the skies, for the final roar of the Lion of Judah is about to echo across the universe forever and ever. Amen.